Hi everybody, I hope you're having a good afternoon or evening. I wanted to remind you that we have been working on solving quadratic equations and we've used a number of methods. This week we've been focusing on solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula and also by factoring. And we found that it's a little bit more difficult to factor a quadratic equation when a is not equal to 1. For instance, right here we have 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. If we look at this problem, we see that 2x squared plus 7x minus 15 is going to be broken down into two binomials, and we know that we're going to have an x term, and we need to be able to figure out what's going to go as the coefficients of x and what will be the constants in these binomials. Now we know that we're going to have one positive and one negative, and we know that because right here we see that negative sign in front of the negative 15. So we learned in class that maybe we want to be a little organized about it. So the factors of a is 2, the factors of a are 1 and 2, and that the factors of c, which is 15, are 1 and 15, and 3 and 5. And we found that it might be helpful for us to list them so that we can actually put them where they belong. Now the 2x and the 1x we're going to just put in place, and I'm going to go ahead and put a plus sign and a minus sign in here, knowing full well that we might need to change them. Now what we do when we use guess and test is we go to the other term, the 15, and we look for the pair of factors that will eventually get us to positive 7x. A lot of you can do this in your head, but if you can't, this is the process. Okay, so I'm going to take 1 and 15, and I'm going to, let me switch colors here. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 here and 15 here. When I do that, I get 1 times 1x and negative 15 times 2x. That gives me a negative 29x. Certainly not the 7x we're looking for. So that's going to go away. Oops. Then, before I leave the 1 and 15, I'm going to switch them. And I'm going to put the 15 in with the 2x, and I'm going to put the 1 over here.
Justin to the front office. Custodian Justin to the front office.
Then I'm going to multiply, and I get 15x in the middle, and I get negative 1 times 2x, which is negative 2x. So I combine them, and I get 13x. Still not 7x. So I'm going to get rid of those. And again, as you get better at this, you can do it in your head. What that tells me, though, is that 1 and 15 will not work. So now I'm going to try 5 and 3. I'm going to put 5 in and 3 in. And when I do that, I get 5 times 1x, which is 5x, negative 3 times 2x, which is just negative 6x. That gives me negative x. Still not 7x. So let's get rid of those. Now I'm going to switch them. I'm going to put the 3 here and the 5 here. Now I have 3x and negative 10x, which is negative 7x. Almost what we need. The only problem that I see here is that our signs right here are reversed. So all we need to do is go back and make a couple of changes. And I'm going to just go ahead and erase this and change it. This now is the negative 3 and this is a positive 5. So we have factored this, and if this had been an equation where we were set equal to 0, then we would know that we could say 2x minus 3 equals 0, and we would get x equals 3 over 2, or x plus 5 would be equal to 0, and x would be equal to negative 5. So we have those two options. But for some of you, you're still not feeling comfortable with how to factor using this guess and test method. So there is another way. It is called the Texas slide. So we're going to use the same example to model the Texas slide. The first step in the Texas slide is to multiply a times c. So remember that our expression here is 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a times c, And a times c is going to be 2 times negative 15, 15, which gives us negative 30. Okay, on to step 2. Now we're going to go ahead and rewrite this. So instead of 2x squared plus 7x minus 15, now we're going to have x squared plus 7x minus 30. So essentially what we've done is we moved this coefficient that's not of a, where we're going to change a, and we're going to move that coefficient out of there, and what we do is we put it in at the end. Okay, so we're going to continue. So now we take x squared plus 7x minus 30, and we need to factor. So we're going to start out by listing our factors of 30, 1 and 30, 30, and 15, and 3 and 10. And I don't think there are any others, at least not that I can think of. Not that will go in go into 30 evenly. All right, so we need to look at this pair, and we do know that we're going to have, again, x and x. And we know one is going to be positive and one is going to be negative because the negative 30, right? But we want them to add up to 7. So 1 minus 30 or 30 minus 1 will not work because that gives us either 29 or negative 29. 2 minus 15 and 15 minus 2 will not work because that gives us either positive 13 or negative 13. But we see that 3 and 10 will work. We want a positive 7x, so the 10 is going to have to be here, and the 3 will be here. Now we're almost done. Notice that now we have x minus 3 times x plus 10. If we look at step 4, it says divide the constants by a and simplify. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to divide by a. In this case, a, if you remember from the beginning, was 2. Then I'm going to simplify. When I simplify this, I'm going to have x minus 3 halves times x plus 5. We are almost there. We're just getting ready for our slide. So we've simplified right here. We've got x plus 2, but we still have this fraction. And here's where our slide comes into play. So now we're going to do this. So now we have 2x minus 3 times x plus 5. And we get the same answer that we got by using guess and test. This method always works, but as you get better and better at factoring using guess and test, you will find that this is going to be cumbersome. It takes a while, it has a lot of steps, but it can really help you out when you're stuck. All right, have a good evening. Good luck studying for tomorrow's quiz.